All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new week, a great week. Let's hope for you all in the markets. Yes, we're going to be talking about stocks, commodities, and of course, cryptos. Just quick shout out for some of the earliest people here: Bob Frapples, Amac, Aaron Trade, the product detective. I like that name. Deborah Smith, William Moore, Trey, and many more. Dave, of course, one of the mods here as well. So, everybody, it's a new week, and that means new opportunities. And I think it'll be a very exciting session. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Are you all ready for Thanksgiving, especially the Americans out there? I'm sure you are. Let's hear it in the chat. Now, just quick shout out, of course, in the spirit of festivities for the rest of the year, I'll be posting at least 1 or 2 reports up per week that come from our private community. And they will be posted on our Twitter. So make sure to go and follow at FX Evolution on Twitter. Make sure you get the right one, guys, as well. I'll post in the chat just there. And you'll be able to get reports similar to this that just kind of give like a bit of an idea or a synopsis of what we're thinking about, why we're thinking about it, those types of things. So if you're interested in that, and many more things, then follow us over on Twitter. Let's take a look, though, at the markets. Let's get into everything that's going on in these markets right now. And I think it's pretty clear that we face a very real challenge this week with the bulls and the bears. And we've got some key levels that we need to be watching. So crypto, just to start off with, I think we need to just discuss it. Obviously, some weakness here on the weekend. We saw it move back down, and it's starting to put pressure on this bottom end 16,000 level. Now, of course, if crypto does fall through, it could bode poorly for stocks as well. Although they're not fully connected, we do need to recognize that if this market's falling off and we're losing sentiment, that can fall into other markets and vice versa. You know, they are connected to some degree. We'll come back to crypto a little bit later, but I want to talk about SP 500. Now, I've got a lot of lines on the charts, but there is method behind the madness. And the first alert I want to talk about is this new low. So in the previous session, we actually saw the market come off here. And I thought that was actually very, very good level. It was something that I did actually put in one of those newsletters just in terms of a key zone. And it's not to say that we knew that was going to happen. It was just a likely area of, let's call it, interaction. This was supply. The market kind of looked like it took it high. There was something in here. It made it pretty even, then it fell down. Now, the most important thing is actually made a lower low here. So that lower low forced through this idea that maybe the bears are a little bit more in control of this level. And then it rallied, and then we've seen sell-off. Now, why I'm paying attention to all of this is because as we head into the open, of course, we're moving towards a gap fill. So previous close, 39.65, current price, 39.51. So that's a small gap that will be there. So whenever you come in on the days, always be aware of where your gaps are and make sure you mark them on your charts. So we want to know where the gap is. And you can always go in there and just put a little top tip. It's just kind of like, gap or unfilled gap. You can type in whatever you wish. But it's nice to have them on your chart. So make sure you always write some things on your main futures chart. I like to use the futures to give us all of the information at hand, but of course we can't ever ignore the real market transactions. That is what was happening before and what was happening, during that bigger volume period. Remember, about a third of the volume goes in throughout the futures. A lot more volume tends to go in through the day. So that's changing in the world that we are in right now. So we have an unfilled gap. Do we expect that to fill and then move down? At this stage, I think we have to think about the weakness train. Now, where do we take the weakness from? Is it from this kind of thing? Is it more that we want to see this low taken? I would like to see a new lower low at this stage. You can see this recovery here is fairly significant throughout this market. But the lower low is what we really want to have happen. Of course, you'd also want to see yields rising with that. Now, let's talk about what opportunities lie if the market does make a lower low. So say we make a lower low. Next up, you would think 39.10, 3900 will be tested. If we manage to fall through there, well, there's not much holding this market up until we get back down to that 37.50. So some of the key levels to watch over the next session, we'll just write them here: 39.30, 39.10, and then the Armageddon would be pretty much the 37.50. From the bull case scenario, because we are going to Thanksgiving, historically a pretty good time of year technically to be a bull. Often the the turns happen maybe that Tuesday, Wednesday for the bull side, you're looking for a 4,000 plus, more like the 4,000 to 40.20 to really solidify that the bulls are back in town. And if that does occur, there's a good chance that you move all the way to 4,100. I would say to 4,140. These two levels would be pretty damn good. So I think we do have some key zones. These are the kind of big levels that I'm looking at for the week ahead. What do you guys think, though? I mean, I think you've got to be open to both because Thanksgiving is notoriously good. Holidays in America tend to be very, very good. And although they're thin on trading volume, especially that Wednesday leading in and the Friday tends to be relatively okay. We'll get the stats later on this week, though, for that. I'll compile them again or get those from somebody and we'll pop them through. If someone does have them right now, feel free to share them with me by either tagging me in Discord or, of course, sending them to me in a private message in Discord as well, and I'll share them out. Will M says 100 likes. Let's go. Yeah, please do smash the like button if you can. It does help us out and certainly supports doing these streams at 12:30 in the morning. So that's always good. And a few people said, dude, WWE is a beast. It's going higher this whole time during the bear market. Well, a huge portion of that, I assume, was because Vince McMahon obviously had to step down. I actually haven't looked at WWE, the stock, for a little while. Yeah, so 78.40. So where is would this be? I can't remember when he stepped down. Somewhere around here. I think he stepped down. That's why we got that gap up. So yes, like the stock's doing pretty well. Look, it has many reasons to do well because Vince is out for the time being. That's going to bring some eyes back, thinking there's a change to wrestling. I don't know if anyone here watches wrestling, but I think most fans will agree. If you, hey, I was a massive fan here from Australia back in the Attitude Era. If anyone knows what that was, like that was the stuff. Yeah, I thought it was real. I thought it was real. Yes, that is true. When I was young, I actually thought that was all the big stuff. But if we get back people coming back into it, watching it, and it's clearly improving as a product. So streaming services, we all know it's very profitable. We'll find out whether that's true or not. But that's a huge portion behind why this stock's going up. Not that I'm an expert on it anymore. Matthew Spearman says, I thought it was real too. I remember having arguments with people about this one. Yeah, okay, I was in grade 3 or something, all right? Grade 4. I can't remember when we watched it. But yes, I remember we were all arguing about it. And then, I don't know if anyone ever used to play on the trampoline, but I still remember one day, I think someone put I don't know if it was a stunner on someone or spear, and they speared them into the trampoline. Let's just say that felt very real for that kid. He got absolutely, he got devastated. It was a bad day. I think from that point on, we were not allowed to do the moves anymore. David's just finding out. He says, "What? It's not real." It's all right, David. It's real to you, man. It's all good. It's the tooth fairy. Don't worry. So anyway, let's get back into markets. They're the key levels that we're watching here for the US 500. But let's build the case for potentially the bear or the bull case scenarios. Let's look at the yields to start off with. 2-year yield, 4.5%, actually climbing through the previous sessions. Interesting. Could this be a head and shoulders? It's possible. But certainly yields on the increase, definitely not good for the stock market. So that's across the board. And the most important part of yields, as we know, is the terminal rates. So this is where things really change. December now only has one rate cut in it. It's a big difference from only a week ago. We're back to 5% terminal rate here by anywhere from April to September, but basically holding the rate. So think about what's happened in yields. And this is why you always need to think about this, everyone. It's so important to everything we do in life. If you want to buy a watch, know where the yields are at. If you want to buy a house, know where the yields are at. It all makes a big difference to the common people out there that don't know this stuff. 99% of our peers don't know this. It's not their fault. They're not taught it. They're not even meant to know it. But you guys do have an edge by being able to read these things. So when you think about it, the yields looked like this a little while ago. And then we had kind of like all the way to December, maybe one rate cut in 2024. Then all of a sudden it was like this. And now we're back to basically something in between. So excuse my drawings here, where it's kind of like this again. So basically, yields have gone back to being bad. Interesting. The market certainly hasn't come back off, but they've kind of gone very similar to where they were pre CPI, pre that number that pushed them through. Again, you can see this in the forward yields. So just remember that's something that does give us an advantage to understand this market a little bit better. Now, what's that helping? Well, it's helping the dollar index. And this is the standout trade here through the session. What we've been looking for has happened. The DXY has boosted up and it's found those buyers and it's come through. This should mean that now pullbacks in the dollar index should be met by bull demand. And if that's true, we have to believe the market is most likely going bearish rather than bullish, if we believe they're still connected, which I think they are at this stage. Now, I want to preface this, everyone. At this point, with inflation, with the market bearish and things, US dollar and stock markets are kind of correlated. They may not be in the future. This is the mistake many traders made back into the GFC. It was correlated for a period. It becomes decorrelated. It's no longer a good thing to look at. Now, eventually that's going to occur. Just remember, it isn't always a fact that if the DXY is going up, the stock market needs to go down, nor do they usually need to be correlated. This is a unique year where people don't want bonds. They don't want treasuries. They want cash dollars. And the best cash dollar is the USD. And of course, some of the other ones have become quite poor, things like the JPY. So in this case, this is a good breakout, probably expecting something like this to occur, possibly even a little bit deeper. But this is certainly a sign towards weakness in the stock market for the next part of the session. A lot of people talking about Disney. Yeah, Disney up 10%. On the Mouse Corp changed the CEO. I saw that. Probably needed. If you're looking for a new Disney show to watch, I do recommend Andor. It's actually not bad. Andor's pretty good, but definitely you have to watch like 3 episodes at a time, yeah? But Andor's pretty good. Has anyone out there in the chat seen it? You have 722 people here. Remember to smash that like button if you can, guys. But yeah, Andor's not bad. Not bad at all. This whole rally was that CPI crazy. That rally was literally the CPI. I mean, it was just one session pretty much. Bang. There you go. This is where we are now. So you can really see the difference. So again, dollar index strong. That's interesting. Demand destruction still underway here in oil. Let's have a quick look at oil. Now notice it came down to this and it found some buyers here. Now it's not lost on me that there was a wick. So because there's a wick, even though you all know my oilish opinions on the barrel anyway, maybe not the stock, there's still a good chance that the barrels will weaken. Let's go down to smaller time frames. 15-minute. Do we see turns? Not the type that I want. I'm going to set an alert for where I would usually want to see oil go this week to make me convinced it's more bullish than bearish. So at this point, I would want it to go probably above something like an 82.80. If that occurs, then we potentially continue to see a rally. But at this stage, it would be more like shorts being placed here. Things like even this area here, potential shorts. Because again, oil is weak at this time in this current market. We do need to pay attention to the weekly wicks. So we're open to the bull side. We're open to it. Is this the best place to short? Not really. Was it probably better up here? Yeah, of course it was. But if this level's taken, where's our next low zone for oil? And I've argued this for a while. It's most likely somewhere around that 64 a barrel. And most people probably can't predict or can't think that it can get there. It really depends on yields. If we do end up seeing 2-year and 10-year and all those types of things drop off over the next 6 to 12 months, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see barreling oil here. And it's because oil is not rare. Remember, it is artificially manipulated heavily. And I think 2022 should have proven that to us a lot with all of these. Oh, we don't want to put the barrels out. And actually all the way since 2020. So yeah, I'm not that bullish on oil. The run, even on the stocks, things like ZOM, just so we know, Exxon and things, great runs. Congrats. Awesome work. Great period of time to own it. Historically, December into kind of the Jan period is not necessarily that strong. And again, you might say, but that's winter. It should be strong. Well, I've got news for you. Do you think, in fact, chat, I ask you this question. Here, just think about this for a second. Do you think Amazon does better into Thanksgiving traditionally than it does afterwards? What do you think? Better afterwards or better before Thanksgiving? What do you guys think? Gold looks like a clean short. Yeah, gold GDX has been particularly good. If you look at GDX, certainly on the short side. Wicks are never lost on me, Tom. Yeah, no, that's true. I do love the Wicks. Kevin says, I've seen all the Star Wars. Very good. Andor is on Disney Plus. Yes. Yao Ming says, I made my life a sunless place. Well, actually, what it should be, Yao, is a sun-filled place. And what I want you to do is set alerts, Yao. I want you to set alerts. There's absolutely no reason not to be out there. Nasdaq looks like a good short. Yeah, I forgot to actually do the little poll. It's probably ruined now, but let's just do a poll here. Okay, bear and bull poll is now open. So people in the chat are just saying, I just give up on shopping and order it. Matthew says the seasonality for Amazon is better in November. That would be correct. So generally it is a run into November. It's a run up until the week of generally Black Friday, and then it drops off into Christmas. And again, that's similar to airlines, similar to a lot of things. People buy airlines thinking, oh, they're going up into, let's say, summer holidays. They tend to rally into the summer holidays, drop during the actual period. And that's because it's buying the rumor and selling the fact. In many ways, the stock market works on this philosophy. And if you think about it, it's a totally different way to how others often see it. Let's take a look at ZOM here. So could this be distribution? I think we need to be open to that idea. And again, if you look at the energy sectors right now, they're starting to consolidate. And this consolidation comes after earnings. So you've got to be just a little bit careful here in these energy stocks. If you're in them, congrats. You've done well. Fantastic. Remember, the barrel is now over $16 lower than where it was, and they're holding incredibly well. So I think it could be partially distribution. We'll be continuing to look at this over the next coming weeks. I definitely want to check it out. Now, where things are starting to look a little bit weaker, at least this week, would be gold. We have here, we have basically an island reversal. So we have an island reversal. Obviously, gold, the commodity itself, looking relatively weak. So if you check out gold here, not much strength here in gold. Some key levels to watch for 1760, probably some others. Let's have a look at the 15-minute chart. I think 1760 is pretty important. This was an interesting short just a few seconds ago, or probably a few minutes ago. That not a bad one. Big supply here obviously came and tapped it and it's weakened off it. You theoretically want that not to be taken. So if that gets taken, it could bring up quite a lot of buyers. I'm going to put it just here. So I think that's something to be worried about, at least temporarily, as a day trader towards that bullish move, and then maybe more the 1765 where it comes back off. But at this stage, yeah, mostly bearish on oil, on gold, and that's a pretty decent rejection weekend. If that closes, that's also the type of thing that you want to see. Again, just of showing you that the market's coming up, it's getting supply, it's getting those orders in, and just saying, nope, not yet. Where did the buyers come back in for gold? Well, I've got alert set, as you can see here, around 1722. I'm looking for this previous distribution, or in this case, previous accumulation levels. I'm looking for them to find the buyers coming back in. I'm still bullish on gold, especially if yields do end up dropping. But these are the two levels that we've got to focus on. Trapper Buck says, I don't trade Tesla. Musk is off deep end with Twitter, and this will eventually hurt Tesla. It's certainly hurting the stock. Yes, the sentiment is not good on the stock right now. Again, another 1.63% down. from the Friday session. You can see here in today's open 2.37. Look, I can see why people are dumping the stock. They're not comfortable with Elon spending so much time on Twitter. And he clearly is. I mean, I don't know if there was some photo he posted or something. It was like in Twitter at like 4 a.m. in the morning or something, probably. I know he worked crazy hours, but look, it's clearly going to distract him from the game on other stocks. This is a publicly traded stock, 176. This is not the type of day that I'd be like, oh, yeah, this looks great. I've said this for a while. I was very comfortable with this level being bought off initially. I'm not comfortable with Tesla unless it kind of does an actual bottoming effect. So I'd rather be a little bit late to this than early. I don't like this today. And I think, unfortunately, that's the, I'm not that partial. Yes, I have a Tesla, but I'm not that partial to the stock and pricing in this current valuations. So that's just me. Okay. The way I look at this, though, from a pure price action standpoint, is this is not what I want to see. It reminds me a lot of AMD and what I said about AMD. Let's have a look at AMD, which, again, I have absolutely no personal opinion on too much, but it was a very similar situation. We cracked we found the buyers, we cracked an incredibly important zone, and we dumped into that next area. And just so happens that the 54.24 area, the middle zone, one of the two areas we had there, did get bought, and that's been bought heavily since this point. But yeah, I do think that we've got to be very careful about Tesla. And to me, the sentiment shot on this stock, if the stock market does turn down, the stock is not finding the bidders. 2.3 down in the open is not ideal. Even if it finds rallies, it's showing us multiple days of weakness. And a good way of always seeing how a stock's performing, if you're not sure, is comparing it to the stock market. So having a look whether the stock market is going in the same direction as the stock itself. And as you can see here, at least recently, there's a big divergence. Yeah, look at that. 6% up for stocks, for the stock market, and negative whatever it is on Tesla, negative lots of percentage. Not what you want to see. John Galt, member for 2 months. Thank you very much. I've managed to figure out a way of seeing your comments now as well for members. So if you're thinking of joining the membership, the Stonk Squad or anything like that, you can also do it. Says, what do you think about the Russell 2000? We'll check it out in just a second. Tesla is vulnerable due to competition, not political ideology. Trading with tribal emotion won't work. Well, I don't think that works for anything. And it's a great point, is if you love something, like I personally find my favorite stock in the market, hate me if you wish, is Microsoft. Okay. I just think it's a giant monopoly and I like its big moat. Okay. I like big moats with lots of crocodiles. And there's a ton of crocodiles in the moat, I believe, for Microsoft. They're everywhere. You go in there, you're dead straight away. So because of that, I like Microsoft. Now, would I trade Microsoft? Probably not, because I'm biased long. I have a bias. I am biased long. Even when it's short, I'm biased long. If it's going down, I'm thinking about Value Town. So, it's probably not the best stock for me to trade. Whereas maybe I'm more partial towards whatever opportunity there is on something like Tesla. And at the moment, I just don't like the type of price action that we're seeing. And I've seen it before and it doesn't look good. So we will see. But people are fighting me a lot on this one. I don't see why it's not finding bid. You can see there that the SPY versus Tesla, and it doesn't bode well. So just be careful of this stock right now. Now, we had a question coming in for the US 2000s. Let's have a look at the Russell. The Russell came up and it hit this level, this previous level of resistance or supply, as you want to call it, and it tapped into it. It was one of the early things that showed us that maybe the US stock market was finding some weakness. Now, the good thing about the Russell is it's giving us some extra information. We have some good zones to set alerts for. So I'm going to set a little alert here for 1858, 1860. Great level just to see the bulls regaining control on the stock market. I don't expect this to be taken out, but if it does, we have to consider things like Thanksgiving market, etc. So this is going to be a level. Now, if it goes like this and it instantly cracks back down, There could be a short here. There's no doubt. There could be definitely a great short through this area. And at this stage, it's looking weaker than stronger. So there's not much to really love about the Russell 2000 just yet. I'm going to go with it looks mostly bearish. Let's have a look at the weekly close as well, just so we can have a look at it. Here is the previous candle. As you can see, long leg doji, or at least a doji of some kind. This is effectively an equilibrium area for the market. The market's comfortable with that zone. Now that we've seen the options expire, weakness seems to be the more likely play here for this market. Now, you guys are voting, and you've got 65% bear versus bull. I'll close that soon. So if you're a bull and you want to try to get those odds back in, make sure you post it through. Daryl says Elon is likely still selling Tesla shares. It certainly could be. But I think that's getting mostly put out. So John says Elon did not sell in the post week. All right, guys, just calm down in the chat. I see you. It's a peaceful place. All right. It's all good. Remember, we're here to talk about stocks. We're here to talk about technical levels, some fundamentals. Probably our opinions don't really matter. And that's the truth in markets. I could say, hey, my opinion is this company's maybe not doing so well. I could say that Disney's making crappy films. That's a comment. Does that mean the stock market's going down? Well, turns out they fired their CEO and now you got a new one. It's up 10%. So yeah, there you go. I could say it's crappy films. I think they are crappy films. I haven't watched a superhero film in a while because I think a lot of them are pretty bad, frankly. But it doesn't change our opinion on the stock. The stock, if we have a look at Disney, just so we can bring it up, stock was actually a pretty good support. So here's the previous level. Here's a giant wallop to that price. And then, of course, it's instantly come back up through. That's a good sign. That's the type of thing you want to see. A quick dump followed by a mass run, little pullback. And now we have, of course, the news. So for people that were down here, if they were looking at it objectively and saying, where is Disney in comparison to previous years and things? Hey, it's actually not too bad. This is a fair price in some ways. It's back to 2014. And the reason why is because the market is reacting to probably what it's seeing, which is people are dropping on the superhero concept at the moment. Digital Haze says, Disney drove me away from Star Wars. Watch Andor, Digital Haze. I'm telling you, just give it a shot, okay? 4 episodes, minimum. Darboy says, I bring you love. Thank you, Darboy. New CEO pulls it up and then it will fall back below 100. Yeah, it may accumulate around here. But what I guess I'm saying is if you look at this from a technical level, there's a decent amount to like about this area. Yeah. So even if you hate the company or you've got some problem with it, there are technical opportunities in here. And that bounce that happened before the CEO was very telling of what the stock was potentially going to do. And that's what we're looking for. Speaking of bounces and drops and things, if we take a look at semiconductors, this is probably one of the most concerning types of charts. So there's NVIDIA. Let's have a look at semis themselves. So this is SMH. And as you can see here, the island reversal again, pointing towards weakness in semiconductors moving forward. Could it be a gap fill? Again, another sector. This isn't our bias. This is literally what's showing on the charts. It is a weakness style signal. So you're seeing weakness in one of the best sectors, I'm not a semiconductor hater. I love semiconductors. They're one of the best. You pit semiconductors versus the stock market, you're going to see some serious outperformance. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that semis have kicked some stock market ass for a long time. But at the same time, we need to be, very aware of whether we want to be in something like semis right now. And that stock or that sector of the market is looking a little weak. And that weakness could push us down to those CPI numbers, and then we'll find out whether the market's willing to switch it around. So we're about half an hour away from the open here today. What would you guys like to take a look at? Now, I'm going to think there's probably a couple of stocks, but let me know in the comments. Let's check it out. A few people want to look at TLT and phase is also one that's coming through. Have a look at TLT. So TLT's had some nice recovery and it didn't quite get to the level I would have hoped for. Maybe it will in the future. But yeah, look, TLT, strong purchases anywhere down in these areas here. The reason, well, it's a very, very consistent zone for years. It's consistent with inflation, hopefully topping off, and therefore yields potentially stabilizing. And you can see some risk coming back in here to the take. I do think it's at kind of a critical potential resistance point. Remember, this was support in the past, as you would call it, or demand. That support could become resistance in here. Let's have a look at the smaller time frames, understand the 1 hour. Again, some structure through here as well. Last time there were some buyers. Those buyers got effectively distributed into sells. So I would think TLT is going to struggle around this point for now. Barber. What is Barber even doing? Check out Barber. $78. Seriously, I don't know why we keep looking at this stock. I figure it's just because people are stuck in it, or maybe it's because it's turning around. Look, I think the risks are real in all of these stocks. Theoretically, again, I think it's hit like a supply. Yeah, I don't know. Not my kind of cup of tea. End phase, let's check that one out. End phase at the highs. So certainly at a resistance here. Now, what's everyone's opinion on end phase? What are you guys wanting to do? You want to buy end phase or short it? Tell me. DAX is boring, Dominic says, but Wednesday it should do a major rally. IFO business confidence will be out and it should be good. Well, it's at a critical resistance, isn't it, at the moment, Dominic, with DAX? And DAX isn't always boring. It just depends. What's your verdict on Bitcoin and crypto? We'll go back over it soon, Rahim. No worries. And Sam the Man with 1,000,000 lucky eights. Lots of lucky eights there for Sam the Man. Good day, brother. Hello, Sam. $4.99. What direction do you see the SPY going over the next day or two? By the way, love your work and content. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you very much. By the way, guys, if you can smash the like button, if you enjoy the content, then please let us know by smashing that like button right now. Sam the Man, I've done a quick SP500 overlay. If you go back to the start, go literally into the first 3 minutes, you'll see it. If you want to go back and rewatch that, I will cover the S&P 500 as we get closer to the market, though. So bear with me about 20 minutes for that. But thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate it. So you guys, what do you want to do with end phase? What is everyone trying to do here? End phase. I'm still stuck in Neo. Ooh, that's unfortunate, Michael. Yes, the trade vesting is unfortunately was a thing of 2020 and 2021. Remember, if you're a trader, even though people often say don't have stop losses, that's become a cool thing to do. It still means you have to have a cut point. Yeah, traders still cut off. It's so stupid to say you don't have a stop loss. You can say I don't have a stop loss, but you still must have a cut or a descaling point. No stop losses are for people with good risk management and all sorts of other things. Short end phase are what most people are doing. Some people are saying buy end phase. So it seems to be pretty switched. $77, $4 super sticker with the coffee. Thank you very much, Sandollar, always for the support. So let's have a look at end phase. I kind of feel like it's at a very high point. This stock is clearly, in my opinion, at a resistance. I don't think that's really a question. The wicks don't tell us a story of significant weakness yet, because we had a wick down. We had a week down again that created kind of a doji. Then we found bullish buyers. So I could even see it wiping the highs before coming down. Could this all be part of a mass distribution? Yeah, it certainly could be. I don't really like the stock. I don't find much advantage in this stock right now. Old Testament becoming a new member. Thank you very much, Old Testament. Tyler K says Zom needs to fall or else I'm picking bottles. Maybe that's why it's staying up, Tyler. Maybe there's a few people trying to short that one because I think it makes sense. All right, let's go back to the VIX quickly, and then we'll go to end phase. Again, VIX 2384. Probably expect this to be a little bit up. Again, if the market falls, it will rise. It will usually not make a new high until there is a new low on the markets. Remember, the VIX works on fear. If it's trading in a zone that is known, then it's unlikely to fall through. Dr. Copper finding some weakness coming back down. You'll notice I have a little alert here to tell me if Dr. Copper's starting to get sick again. Big rejection. Let's take a look at it on the monthly. Monthly is coming up very, very soon in terms of closures. This will be telling. If Dr. Copper doesn't hold and it goes kind of like down like a big bearish shooting star style wick, then that's going to show us all we need to know about the economy, and it's not good. Dr. Copper was one of the best things going around, and now that it's coming down to a bit of sickness in the economy. So maybe it was a false break in the first place. Check out Bitcoin, 16,156. Look, I stick with the same plan. And my plan is that I still don't like what we've seen on Bitcoin. And I still think there is a real chance of further weakness pushing this thing down. There's got to be contagion in the crypto world. You don't just lose whatever it was, $35 billion, and get away with it without having some collateral damage. And there's got to, I'll say it right now. I don't understand, neither have I ever been told a verifiable concept of what the hell staking is and why it actually works. Okay? 22% stake. Yeah, all right. Where'd you get that from? No, it's a big problem. And I know I've loved the concept of staking, but oftentimes I question it a lot. And I just think there's collateral damage somewhere in those companies. Okay? That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't want to single anything out. I just think that there's got to be some issues in those. Big issues. John Galt, $5. I see a couple of people in the chat asking about Adobe. Thank you very much for the $5, man. Looked at its chart and it looks like a possible short. What do you think? We'll check out Adobe. And Durgesh, thank you very much, John. Durgesh, $5 here. Can we please look at Barber? That's one of my trades that has turned into investment. Yes, unfortunately, I know you're one, Durgesh. We did look at Barber probably a few minutes ago. I think it's at resistance or a supply at the moment, Durgesh. Skip back literally 5-10 minutes. You'll see it there. But thank you very much for the donation as per usual. And I know it's your trade vest. And hopefully that's a lesson for a lot of people out there at the trade vesting. Oof, Bitcoin looks horrible and I love Bitcoin. That's right, Andrew. Like, I don't hate Bitcoin at all. I like Bitcoin and I like Ethereum. You'll notice they're the only two I have up here. There are other projects that I don't hate. But yeah, I do think that when you're in the crypto winter, when you're in deep in the hells of, or the worst kind of parts of crypto, just remember this. And I'll ask the chat this question. Which cryptos lead us out of depression? Okay. And then what I mean by the depression, it's the depression of the crypto winter. Historically, what has led us out? The superior gains generally tend to come from this one. Probably, I think, the best logo. Bitcoin's got a cool logo. The best logo coin is the one that takes us out. Now, do we hate this chart? Let's look at the weekly here. So this will be telling. End of this week, do we see a rejection wick again? Do we finally see these demand wick buyers coming through? Let's look at the history of wicks on the weekly, because I think this is very important to think about. The weekly wicks, nice. The weekly wicks, very nice. Weekly wicks in here, not too bad. I mean, not too good either. Then you get these nasty looking ones, and that ends up being the truth. So what we're looking for is nice, maybe a drop, a new low to be formed, then strong buyers to come back in. I would like to see a new low with buyers if I was thinking about the bull here. From the current market conditions and what we're seeing, it doesn't really look that way. Again, if stocks fall, Don't expect crypto to be magical and go against that. What is this? A series of lower highs currently. We need to make a new high so we can start to breach and move forward. So I'm going to set some alerts. I guess I'll set one at 16.8 something. And I want to know new lows formed. So I'm going to set alert like here. And if those things happen, of course, I'm looking for it to get much lower. I'd like to see like a 9.5, 10, 11,500 kind of Bitcoin. And if it goes through here, then I'll start paying attention to the potential opportunities to the upside. But my preference would be that if I was thinking long. We'll do Adobe in a second. Quantum Mechanic, $1.99. Good morning. Yes, Contagion hasn't hit yet. It's like one of those terrible films. Has anyone ever seen Birdemic? There's no way anyone in the chat's ever seen Birdemic. But that's the Contagion. Birdemic. We're going to fight it off with coat hangers. Vicky, AED, $25 super sticker. Thank you very much, Vicky. Appreciate the support as per usual. So much for crypto being hedged against the market. Yes. Wow, so much for gold being a hedge against the market. Little known fact, gold is no hedge against the market. The only hedges traditionally, and I know it didn't work this time because of inflation, traditionally TLT is actually a really sweet hedge versus the market. Just not so much in high inflation environment. Gary Siani says, no, we lived through Birdemic. And this happened before that Birdemic. I'm talking about the real Birdemic, the movie. It's a very bad film. All right, now what was I searching here? Adobe. Vilios says, lol, the only market hedge is WWE and fast food. But why is fast food a hedge against the current issues? Can anyone guess? I mean, it's a sad truth why fast food does well. Little known fact, in the GFC, the only green stock was McDonald's. I think it was the only green big stock was McDonald's. Let's take a look at Adobe. So this was a request coming in from a super chat member. Look, I really like Adobe actually underneath these lows, this 2020 lows. So I'm actually going to put a little alert there. I would like to see it down there. Now, is there a short? That's the question people are asking. Yeah. I don't really have too much opinion on it, I guess. Like Adobe could be building a position. Volume is slightly up on where it's been recently. That's good sign. I would like it to take that low, frankly. That would be very happy to me. I think Adobe will trade mostly in line with the stock market for now. They'll need an earnings report which comes out in 24 days to change their fate. So yeah, there's not too much there. Ric Flair is coming into the house saying because whenever you're poor or rich, you're always going to get a Big Mac for the depression. Yes, that's true. Unfortunately, that is why the stock market tends to go into the fast food chains over basically people's pain, monetary pain usually. Yeah, it's true. That's what it is. Trey says, Tom, let's do Euro US dollar before the Birdemic takes us all out. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. The Euro USD is just going to be in line with the DXY, really, though. Again, new low being formed. It's pretty significant. I'm looking for the markets to potentially now rally in terms of Euro, potentially rally up and then drop off. But for now, yes, I'd be tinged towards bearish Euro, bullish DXY. I already have been, I guess, but this is just clarifying that situation for now. And again, it pushes us into this thought process that the stock market possibly might have some weakness here at the start of the week. Where are the strength points for the euro? Well, the strength points for the euro is coming up around that 1.0170 80 zone. I like that area for potential buyers to recommit themselves if we just drop off a cliff here early on the session, and then the other one's quite low. So it's the same as it's just a carbon to the DXY, really. DXY has strength around that 108, 108.20. And for now, pullback should be met by buy demand. Oil futures down to 78.91. That's correct. Tom, what is the grayscale BTC GBTC FUD about? I don't know. Okay, I'm not on top of that. The storylines don't interest me in crypto, so I don't care about the storylines in most things. Let alone the stock market. The storyline has very little ramification. I say this: ask this question to yourself, everyone. We've got well over 1,200 people in the chat. How often, a week later, did the news that you heard that supposedly moved the market so much actually even matter? Very infrequently. There are only a few specific price points or certain bits of news that truly affect the market. The market is moving in mysterious ways. It is our job to understand the way that it is manipulated into effectively extracting as much money as possible. It's not that it's inefficient. It's not that it's irrational. We just don't necessarily understand every single move. It's your job as a technical analyst or fundamental or whatever the hell you want to use to figure out an edge. And during certain times, you will have edge. That's how it is. Powell moves the market. Yeah, he moves the market, but is it actually the overall? If he says something very specific, then yes, he'll move the market. But let's think about it. 1 year. I swear it was a copy paste. We will use all of the tools. Inflation is transitory. All the tools, guys. Every tool. Every tool. And that's all he said. Every time. Transitory tools, more transitory. The only person that used to come out and say anything about inflation was Bullard. He'd be coming out. Rates going to 4%. And then everyone would be like, whoa, I feel like Bullard was the only one telling the truth. He's still using the tools. That's right. Health stocks are up right now. Defensive. That's correct. Let me just load this for everybody again, just to bring the point through. This is the chart that I used on the weekend video, and I just want to prove this point. So let's ignore TAN for a second. Okay, we know solar is a hyper stock or something, but we'll call that the green political economy. Now we'll go to XLP, and we'll go XLU and XLV. These are three of the most defensive sectors that markets will move into, and they've been buying them. Like, look at this XLP move. XLP goes from somewhere clearly in here, starts getting purchased, holds, doesn't drop, goes up. XLV, you can see the way that it's been moving, mostly holding, flatlining throughout the middle. And then we have XLU, which again, mostly just kind of on the upward tick. At the same time, all the other sectors were pretty much going down over those last 5 days. And that tells us the market's going defensive. And when it goes defensive, we have to pay attention. Because if that's occurring, wait a second, what are you doing? What are you doing in terms of the market? Are you being sneaky? Are you ready to dump and push the market right down? It's a great precursor. And if we then see price action that points towards that, then it strengthens the case for further dumps to come. Because it means they've been building that bearish position, that defensive position. It's not an absolute, but we do definitely talk about it a lot. And it is happening at the moment. Marcin says, we know the Fed will pivot. Fed knows it will pivot. Bonds are trading knowing Fed will pivot. Yeah, so that's a great point in terms of bonds improvement. So I do definitely pay attention to these corp bonds, and I am impressed by the corp bonds movement up. Now, corp bond traders do tend to be a little bit smarter than the average stock trader. Not going to say that we're all dumb out there or anything, but bonds traders, it's not an easy game. So theoretically, yields have been, let's call it, flatlining for the last week. So what's this telling us? That the risk appetite has come back into the market. So is it fair to say that there's a pivot coming? Probably not just yet. It's not fair to say, but bonds have recovered better than you would expect. So let's just put this date into comparison. They're back to where we were 20th of September, and they're coming back to where we were June. So effectively, the bond market has recovered in line with the stock market this time, which is different to what we saw in previous rallies. We went to high yield corp bonds. This is the comparison that we've been mostly using this year to figure out whether the market's sick or not. Now, high yield corp bonds are not telling the same story as corps. So maybe it's just, okay, we're prepared to take some risk in the corps, but we still don't want the garbage yield. And look at this. The stock market hasn't made a new high or anything, but remember, it was a lower high, a higher high in the stock market. This time around, they're not necessarily joining. So I agree with you on corporates. I agree with you on TLT. They are positive signs. I just want my combo to go up, which is XLY, XLP or something like that, a defensive combo. I don't like seeing this happen. This is the American consumer. It looks disgustingly sick. That's not good. What about US 30 versus US 500? Old economy versus new economy. Again, not really what we want to be seeing. I don't want the old economy beating the new economy. That just shows you again that risk is off to a degree on these tables. Ric Flair says Black Friday sale on the stock market. Get in while you can. Woo! Thank you, Ric Flair. John Galt says HYG hasn't felt the real pain yet. Maybe. Help me understand, how does corporation that I witness the most amount of trash/litter all around the world rate the greenest? Not sure, Brandon. Short energy and crude stocks. I think shorting the trade may be like over for now until we get those new lows forming. And then you get the recovery. I don't like to short here because where's your stop loss going to be? Where is your exit plan? What's your risk reward? That's a big question mark, yeah? So shorting in those locations isn't great. Look, we've got 8 minutes till the market opens. We'll need to get back into the indices and go through those. The biggest warning today is not even so much the markets themselves. It's probably Tesla. Although it may find rally, 175.98 will trigger this new low, I believe. Will it trigger the new low? Yeah, it'll trigger a new low, and it certainly shows this continuation weakness. I'm not that confident in a rally being formed here. Could be wrong, but look at the AMD comparison, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Very, very, very similar chart to AMD. And most of trading is about understanding replication and then honing in on that. We are moving towards the US 500, moving to the gap fill. So let's just quickly scroll in here. We marked that out before. 39.65 is the gap fill. We are currently trading at 39.54. That's the gap from previous Friday. Our key levels to watch this week, we've got some alerts set. I think anything above 4,000, 4,020 is going to be a pretty big trigger towards maybe some nice Thanksgiving cheer. New low will be significant. 39.30 will be a significant point for today. Could push through and crush it to 39.10. So I like these kind of levels for now. And then after that, I like the 4140 zone. So all of those are good. And then underneath 37.50. So there's some pretty big gap area that can occur underneath 39.10. If we bust 3900, 3910, go underneath, it could be, that's probably where that brutality is going to come in, that knife's edge that falls through the market. But for now, we're trying to find out which way this wishes to go. We'll end the poll. It looks like it's mostly bearish. 58% of you are bears, 41, well, it says 41, but 42% of you are bullish. Earth says, crypto sounds super cool. Look, crypto has done this before, similar issues. I think it will come back eventually. I'm not saying all of the projects will come back. Many are dead as a doornail. They are dead, dead, dead. Do I like Doge? I never liked Doge. Will Doge come back to a degree? Probably, but it is not my interest. I like the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, and a few other minor projects. So again, rallies here, potentially getting us back to flatlining with the market. What happens around this flat line will be key. Should we get into that? US 30 is the better sector or better market to be in today. Again, defensives, finding the rallies. And remember to always have like a heat map or something like that up so that you can be aware of the sectors and the rotation. So if we look at the last 5 days, notice the gains, hypermarkets, utilities, soft drinks, bad things for you, home furnishings, pharma. These are the sectors that markets have been moving into. Friday session, utilities, soft drinks, hypermarkets, pharma. So once you recognize a trend, you can get a bit of an idea. So clearly the semiconductor trend is probably cooked. It's too high. So semiconductors up 18.72 over 10 and 14.89. If I was guessing bearishness, which sector would get hit the hardest at the moment? Probably the semis. Even though the semis are one of the best sectors long term. Dominic says here, unproven, obviously rumor at this stage, supposedly increased production by 500K barrels. YouTuber says, I'm thinking of a short, bring levels back to March 2020. Yeah, so that's the general argument a lot of people have, YouTuber. Going back to the lows. Obviously, some stocks have already done that and then some, if you look at those. 4 minutes till the open. Let's look around some of the other major markets. Let's take a look at the DAX. The DAX was showing some weakness, then had that strength play on it. As we heard some news coming out this week that could push us through into these supply highs. And I would love to see the DAX kind of do this. That would be very, very cool for shorting after that period. Let's take a look at the news for the week. This is moving forward to the 22nd. We don't have too much bank holiday, obviously, for Japan, though that's already over. Let's look to, that's Tuesday. So that's not over yet. FOMC, few FOMC members are coming out. Then we move into European news mostly here. Then we've got the FOMC meeting minutes. Remember, that's Wednesday at 2 p.m., everyone, New York time. And then we have the big one, the turkey giving. Has everyone got their turkeys ready? A turkey sold out throughout the US? I'm not sure. Hopefully, what's everyone? We don't have Thanksgiving in Australia. I'm assuming it's like pumpkin pie, turkeys, hams, some kind of roast thing, and probably a bunch of barbecue. I am correct, yeah. Pumpkin pie is one of the things that was eaten. I'm pretty sure. Pumpkin pie. I hope to, when we come over for Vegas next year, I hope to get some pumpkin pie. Stores have plenty of the turkeys. Okay, that's good. Turkey legs only this year. No whole bird at our house, says Travis T. Oh, the stuffing inside the turkey. There you go. Turkey, hams, and pie. There you go. Thinking 79 eating out of the can this year for Thanksgiving. Trying to save those bickies to buy those cheap stocks. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so US 500, we've thought about that. Our most telling point towards weakness right now is still going to be this push out for the US dollar. And by the way, oil is getting absolutely dominated right now. Wow, look at it go. New lows here for oil. I really wished it would come back up here. That was, oh well, again, patience, react, don't predict, guys. We wanted to react up here. We didn't get it. We're getting a lowered barrel though. Again, copper also getting flogged. It's all these commodities getting hurt. Gold also, coming back to that zone again. Will it keep selling off that area? Very important. It does so if it's going to continue going bearish. So yeah, a whole bunch of things there. But the biggest teller today is the dollar index. The strength in the DXY coming through the London European session into the beginning of New York. Then we maybe drop back a little bit, push the stock market up, and then maybe dump. This is the chart to watch, I think, for that perspective. US 500, US 100, all coming in a little bit red tinge. General sentiment is bearish here on these markets from the structure layout that we've got so far. To find the bulls back in, earliest sign you're going to see it is a new high formed off here. I'm looking for that 4,000 40/20 though to be taken through. Can you check out Airbnb? We certainly will. But first, we've got markets. Ding, 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 ding. We are open. Let's check out some of the stocks. Amazon up barely 0.29. Cool. I'm not sure. I don't think any of these sound things work, but I'll get them set up for next stream we do next week. So Amazon here, 0.46. Let's see if it does work. There we go. Okay, that should sound like a megaphone. Yep. All right, we'll use that next week. Did that work, guys? Did it sound like the turkeys are sold out? The turkeys are sold out. All right, that should have worked. Hopefully it did. Apple 1% down at those highs. This is a pretty key zone for us. If Apple does end up breaking to a new high, that's going to be fairly significant. And as we know, Apple will then put in a double bottom. So we need to pay attention to these in the markets. We always need to say, okay, if one of the biggest, best stocks in the market's double bottoming, hey, I'll pay attention to it. Just like the other day, we saw this gap low, gap up, began that rally, cool. But if we do start to see weakness, you'll notice I've got alerts all over Apple on the lows because these are all swing points. These are the new low here. This will be a great day trading session. I'm all over that one should it happen. I certainly want to know what's happening here. And then I specifically want to know when it gets into this structure. It's like Cloud9. Has anyone seen the TV show? I have the Cloud9 power now. Pauline says, no megaphone, Tom, please. Hey, it's all right. I'm just saying there's no turkeys. There's no turkeys. I have many powerful things on this new soundboard. Not sponsored, but Rode, if you ever hear this, maybe potentially, Rode Soundcaster Pro 2, not too bad. Gold's rejecting down. I'm happy. Let's have a look at the small time frame for you on that. 15-minute. Yep, this is a good one. I'm actually going to look at small time frame here and see if I like it, Dave. Oops, didn't mean to go over there. 3-minute chart. Yeah. I mean, certainly a good little swing for a scalp through the session. The supply here, the weakness. You really want that underneath here, though, bad. I'll set an alert because if it doesn't get underneath there, you're going to be sad, I think. So we'll have to get it underneath 1738 to make you feel a little bit more confident. You'll have to wait for next week for the cleanup. Cooler in Vegas on the fall as well, says Quantum Mechanic. That's all right, Andrew. Well, this is coming. Now that I know it works, I've got to set it up. So yeah, markets start off here with, I think, mixtures. There's strength. We've got unfilled gap 39.65. So again, rallies into dumps, plays out. US 10-year just dropped off a bit. A lot of action. I still stick with the DXY has told us as much as we need to know. And that has generally been that if I was thinking about the market today, I'd probably be bearish. And that's just my opinion based on the DXY mostly and the current structures we have in the stock market. I am prepared to flip bullish at the right areas just because I know it's Thanksgiving week and that tends to be a nice bullish week. That doesn't mean that the Monday is good, nor does it mean the Tuesday is good. But when it comes to Wednesday and Friday, traditionally you tend to get a little bit more bullish action. Will that be in 22? Not sure. Any comments on PLTR? I really don't. I'll just finish off with a couple of stocks I saw you guys post. Oh, look, you know what my comment's going to be. I always say the same thing. Stop looking at this damn stock, please. I've I've hated it for a long time. I thought it was a SPAC. And look, the problem with PLTR is it just doesn't have the momentum. It doesn't have elastic memory in it. These stocks remind me of, any penny stock where you get stuck in years worth of action like this, and it's just soul crushing. It doesn't have a strong storyline behind it. And the main reason is because bad earnings, bad earnings, bad earnings, bad earnings, four in a row. That's just really made it sad. So it's going to need a good, strong earnings to push it out of a sideways market. That's my opinion. Where is it going? Look, the gap below the lows, it rallied. Hard to tell because I'm kind of bearish on the stock market. So if the stock market was moving down, I don't think PLTR is going to be saved. Airbnb, again, accumulation, probably beat earnings. It's just getting compressed. And the main reason this is, can anyone tell me in the chat why this stock actually is not horrible at all? But why is it low still? Can anyone in the chat tell me? And let's just say if you point over here, it released itself into the world in December of 2020. It's been 18 months, admittedly, since that point. But I don't like IPOs in America. If you're in before the IPO, smiley face, you've done well. If you sell during the IPO, smiley face, you've done well. But otherwise, you're buying the dumpster fire. It could be that this is an amazing accumulation. And in fact, since you put me on this chart, I'm going to set a little alert for a new high in the future. And I'm also going to set an alert for the low, just so I know. I'm going to trap that stock and we'll find out. Rocky Tillman says PLTR doesn't have bad earnings. They've had bad stock dilutions for new employees. That is done. PLTR will be a good stock. Look, I've been fighting with people for years about it, Rocky, whatever it was, since 2020, 2021. It's not that I know anything about the stock. I wouldn't even know what the earnings were, nor have I even looked at one of their reports. It's just the way it came out. It's following a similar track that I've seen before in all these new stocks where they have hype and then they dump, and it's probably in accumulation. So is this the worst part for a PLTR? Absolutely not. It's probably finding fair value at this stage. Tesla just keeps diving here, 174. Will our prediction of the gap fill and getting back down to that 136, 123 come true? Many people hated that call. We'll find out whether it happens. Never fall in love with a stock. I'm a little bit too much in love with Microsoft. I admit that stock, it's got me. I've been in love with it for too long, just because I like its moat. I always have a few things. If you're going to invest in a company, for me, I like the big moat. Just remember that. Big crocodile moat. One of Buffett's principles, actually. Michael says Microsoft daily chart looks like it's trying to accumulate and break above 250. It certainly looks like it's accumulating. Volume is pretty consistent, so I wouldn't say there's any particular super awesome volume or anything. Obviously, earnings pushed it through in here. Again, I would expect it to be in line with the market. Is this a decent price? It's okay. It's not cheap yet, though. Did Bill Gates send you roses? Yeah, I wish. Maybe he send me like a little bit of a clip of one of his software patents or whatever. Rocky Tillman says, I sold about 80% of my Tesla, going to start buying it back under 150. Good luck, Rocky. I hope that happens for you and you get the right prices. Teddy N says, Zom puts printing today. Let's have a quick look at energy stocks. Oh, yep, coming back down. You'll notice I have a little low alert set here. Just want to see that kind of double top, triple top distribution start to play. It does look like most of the markets are bearish here through the session so far, except for, of course, some of the Dow stocks. Looks like big stocks are doing well. I'm just going to load up this so we can refresh it. So percentages, what is doing best? Soft drinks again, utilities again, pharma holding okay. Gas is the big loser, and semiconductor equipment. So we got that right. Yeah, whatever with these. That's fine. That's correct. And these defensives still playing out. So more of the same from Friday, Thursday sessions. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate each and every one of you out there, the 1,200 people that join us. And we'll leave you with this.
Clean up in aisle 5. Clean up in aisle 5.
All right. Thanks very much, guys. You have a great day. Have a great session. Enjoy your Thanksgiving if we don't see you on the Daily Show. And for anyone else out there in the world, hopefully you have a great time. Maybe you'll even have your own Thanksgiving, even though you might not, celebrate it. I'm going to go and get a turkey tomorrow from Costco. Catch you, everyone. Bye for now.